There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the fog begins to lift, when clarity pierces through the haze of confusion and denial. Your person is standing in that moment right now. They are finally beginning to understand and truly feel the full weight and profound consequences of their actions. For what feels like an eternity, they may have turned away from the truth, choosing to ignore the ripple effects of their behavior or failing to fully comprehend how deeply and painfully their choices affected you. They lived in a state of willful blindness, perhaps convincing themselves that things weren't as serious as they were, or that time would somehow heal wounds they never properly acknowledged. But now, everything is shifting. The veil has been lifted, and they can no longer hide from reality. Everything is coming into crystal clear focus, sharp and undeniable. They are facing their mistakes head-on with a courage they didn't possess before, accepting their faults with a humility that comes only from genuine remorse, and realizing with devastating clarity how their choices created vast canyons of distance between you. This awareness is not arriving gently or easily. It crashes over them in waves, accompanied by deep regret that sits heavy in their chest, guilt that follows them through every waking moment, and a profound ache in their heart that seems to pulse with every beat. Yet beneath all of that pain, beneath the layers of remorse and self-reflection, there burns one truth they desperately need you to understand. Their loyalty to you has never truly faded, not even for a moment. Even when everything between you fell apart like a house of cards, even when pride built walls between you or confusion clouded their judgment and got in the way of clear communication, their feelings for you have remained genuine and unwavering. They want you to believe this with every fiber of your being, even if at this particular moment you cannot see it clearly through the thick wall of hurt that has built up between you lately. Your person has been utterly consumed by thoughts of you, taken over completely by memories and emotions they can no longer suppress or ignore. They find themselves drifting back into treasured memories without warning, transported to those precious moments that once brought pure joy, spontaneous laughter, and deep soul-level connection. Whether it's remembering a simple conversation that flowed effortlessly between you, a shared glance across a crowded room that spoke volumes without words, or a long night filled with warmth, intimacy, and the kind of closeness that makes the world outside disappear, those recollections now play over and over in their mind like a film reel they cannot stop. It's almost as if they are physically reliving the past, desperately trying to hold on to precious fragments of what once was, clinging to the beauty you created together. Every single memory feels like both a tender comfort and a cruel punishment, simultaneously reminding them of the extraordinary beauty you both shared and the painful mistakes that led to its gradual unraveling. The realization that has struck them most profoundly is this: they didn't just lose a lover when they lost you. They lost so much more than that. They lost a best friend who understood them like no one else could, a trusted confidant who held their secrets and dreams safely, and a rare sense of peace and grounding that only you brought into their chaotic life. Because of this devastating recognition, concentrating on anything else has become almost impossible, a Herculean task they fail at daily. They try desperately to keep themselves busy, to distract their wandering mind with work obligations or other responsibilities, throwing themselves into projects and tasks with forced intensity. But no matter how hard they try to redirect their attention, no matter how much they attempt to fill their hours with noise and activity, their mind keeps circling back to you like a compass pointing true north. The fear of truly losing you forever haunts them day and night. It follows them like a persistent shadow they cannot shake, whispering painful reminders of everything they could have done differently, every moment they should have cherished more deeply, every word they should have spoken but kept locked inside. The terrifying idea that someone else could be filling your life with the joy and love they failed to provide absolutely terrifies them, shaking them to their core. This thought makes them see the entire situation in a completely new and sobering light. It forces them to confront the reality that you are a person with your own life, your own journey, and that the space they once occupied in your heart may not remain empty forever. This time apart, though excruciatingly painful and difficult to endure, has opened their eyes in ways that nothing else possibly could. Sometimes the most profound lessons come wrapped in the harshest packaging. Your silence especially has been a powerful and unexpected teacher, speaking volumes where words never could. Through your deliberate absence, through the space you've created, you've shown them the immeasurable importance of appreciation, honest communication, and consistent effort in sustaining love. Without saying a single word, without lecturing or explaining, you've taught them one of life's most profound and fundamental lessons, that taking someone for granted is the fastest and most certain way to lose them forever. What they once naively assumed would always be there, what they thought was permanent and unchanging, is now gone. And that gaping emptiness, that void where you once stood, hurts more than they ever could have imagined in their most pessimistic moments. They cry silently, often when no one is watching and they can let their guard down. Because admitting this pain out loud, speaking it into existence, makes it feel too devastatingly real and final. But the tears come anyway, unbidden and unstoppable. They are tears of deep remorse for actions they cannot undo, tears of intense longing for a connection they can no longer touch, and tears of love that hasn't died or diminished despite all the physical and emotional distance. They are not only feeling hollow regret, but also experiencing a genuine and transformative desire to change from the inside out. For perhaps the first time in their life, your person truly understands the full gravity and weight of their actions and the immeasurable depth of your worth as a human being and as a partner. They no longer want to repeat the same tired mistakes or let stubborn pride stand arrogantly in the way of real connection. They're genuinely ready to put in the work, to do whatever it takes to rebuild the trust they shattered, to listen more closely and attentively, and to show you through consistent actions that their heart is completely sincere. This time, they don't just want to make empty promises that sound beautiful but lack substance. They want to prove their true intentions through deliberate, meaningful actions that speak louder than any words ever could. They realize now, perhaps too late but with crystal clarity, that love isn't sustained by pretty words alone, but by unwavering consistency, raw honesty, and genuine care demonstrated day after day. Without you in their life, their entire world feels fundamentally unbalanced, tilted on its axis, almost completely directionless. You were their anchor in stormy seas, the person who brought profound meaning and emotional grounding to their existence. Now, without that essential connection, without your stabilizing presence, everything seems a little less bright and vibrant, a little less meaningful and purposeful. They miss not only your physical presence and the comfort of having you near, but also the deep sense of purpose, direction, and inner comfort that came naturally with being connected to you. That profound realization has hit them with tremendous force, like a freight train they never saw coming, and it's driving them powerfully to want to make things right again, to restore what was broken. They long desperately for your support and unconditional love because in their eyes, in their deepest understanding, you are the person who brings them home to themselves, to inner peace, and to genuine happiness that isn't dependent on external circumstances. You showed them who they could be at their best, and they cannot forget that feeling. Soon, in the near future when they've gathered enough courage, your person plans to come forward and make a heartfelt love offer. It won't be a casual or flippant gesture thrown out carelessly. It will come from a place of deep emotion, complete sincerity, and vulnerable hope. They are preparing themselves mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for that crucial moment, fully knowing it's their golden chance to show you how much you truly mean to them, how essential you are to their happiness and sense of wholeness. They hope with everything they have that you will be able to see the genuine change in them, to recognize and feel their sincere remorse and the love that has only grown stronger and more mature with the painful time spent apart. They are hoping and praying for your forgiveness, though they understand with humble realism that it may not come easily or immediately. Still, they are willing to wait patiently for as long as it takes, to work diligently for your trust, to earn your faith in them back one careful step at a time, one action at a time. In their heart, they know with unshakable certainty that you are their perfect match, the one who understands them in ways no one else possibly can. You bring out the absolute best in them, challenge them to grow beyond their limitations, and make them believe in something deeper and more meaningful than just temporary affection or surface-level attraction. They've realized with stunning clarity that no one else can fill the unique space you occupy in their heart. To be completely honest and vulnerable, your person deeply regrets not choosing you definitively when they had the clear chance, not prioritizing you consistently when they absolutely should have made you their top priority. They see now with painful hindsight that what they were desperately looking for, searching for in all the wrong places, was right in front of them all along. It was you. It has always been you. Now they are ready, truly ready, to find their way back to you with intention and purpose. Not through manipulation or calculated games, not through empty promises that sound good but lack follow-through, but through complete honesty, genuine humility, and authentic love that has been tested and refined by fire. They've learned their lesson the hardest way possible, through loss and absence and sleepless nights. But that brutal lesson has fundamentally changed them at their core. Every tear they've shed, every sleepless night they've endured staring at the ceiling, every crushing wave of regret that has washed over them has built a stronger, deeper understanding of what love truly means and requires. They don't just want to be forgiven and have everything returned to how it was. They want to grow continuously as a person, to love you better and more fully than they ever have before, and to never, ever repeat the mistakes that drove you away from them. Deep down in the most honest part of their soul, they are holding on tightly to hope that you'll give them one more chance, one final opportunity to prove that this time they are ready, willing, and able to love you exactly the way you always deserve to be loved from the very beginning. Can you feel me reaching out to you telepathically, speaking to your soul across time and space? Sometimes it feels as though our souls are engaged in quiet, constant conversation, even when our physical lips are silent and sealed and countless miles separate our bodies. I often catch myself completely lost in vivid thoughts of you, imagining in rich detail what life might look like if our paths finally aligned perfectly without hesitation, fear, or the obstacles that have kept us apart. It's as if your unique energy calls to me in ways I can't fully explain with logical words, like a hauntingly familiar song I can never quite get out of my head no matter how hard I try. No matter how much time passes or how far I try to drift away intentionally, something powerful in the universe keeps guiding me back toward you with magnetic force. It's not cold logic or rational reason that pulls me relentlessly in your direction. It's something far deeper and more primal, a spiritual connection that defies conventional explanation or scientific understanding. There was a painful time when raw fear controlled me completely, dictating my every move. I was deeply afraid that we didn't share the same dreams for the future, the same vision for life, the same natural rhythm in how we moved through the world. I thought with misguided certainty that if I gave you my whole heart without reservation, our inevitable differences would only create unbridgeable distance, constant conflict, and unnecessary pain. I worried intensely that loving you fully meant losing myself entirely, that our strong individuality might be too much for any bond to hold together. But I see things completely differently now with mature eyes. I was wrong. So terribly wrong. Our differences aren't insurmountable obstacles standing in our way. They are actually the beautiful bridges that connect us in unexpected ways. They are the striking contrast that creates perfect balance. The enriching diversity that makes our connection vibrant, dynamic, and real rather than flat and one-dimensional. Where I am naturally weak and struggle, you are remarkably strong and capable. Where you sometimes falter and stumble, I stand firm and steady. Together, we are whole and complete in ways I never thought humanly possible before I knew you. I used to think naively that compatibility meant being the same person essentially, but now I realize with clarity that it's actually about harmony. It's two distinctly different notes that sound absolutely beautiful when played together in concert, creating something neither could create alone. Looking back now with honest reflection, I feel a deep, penetrating ache of regret for running away cowardly from what was perhaps the most beautiful connection of my entire life. I can't shake the heavy guilt of the silence I deliberately created, the emotional distance I carefully built brick by brick, and the confusion and pain I caused you through my actions and inaction. I know with absolute certainty that I owe you thorough explanations, so many of them that they could fill volumes. I want to tell you clearly and honestly why I went quiet when I should have spoken up, why I acted as though you didn't matter when you mattered more than anything, why I ignored your brilliant light even when it was the only thing guiding me safely out of my own consuming darkness. I desperately wish I could make you understand completely that my painful silence wasn't cold indifference or lack of feeling. It was pure, paralyzing fear. I was genuinely scared of the intensity of what I felt for you, of how vulnerable and exposed you made me feel when I had spent years building protective walls. Loving you stripped away every defensive wall I'd ever carefully built around my heart, and I panicked like a frightened animal. I chose artificial distance over authentic depth, false control over genuine surrender. And in doing so selfishly, I hurt both of us deeply and unnecessarily. You might reasonably think that I'm happy now, that I've successfully moved on with my life, that I've detached emotionally and built a new existence without you at its center. But the truth couldn't be further from that comfortable illusion. Outwardly, I may look relatively composed to others, maybe even genuinely content on the surface, but inside where it matters, I'm haunted constantly by your absence. Every quiet night feels exponentially heavier without hearing your voice. Every little unexpected reminder of you, the songs that we loved, the places we explored together, the small coincidences that seem too intentional to be random, feels like a direct whisper from the universe itself asking me pointedly to remember what I've tried so desperately hard to forget. I feel your presence powerfully in unexpected moments when I least expect it, as though your soul reaches out persistently to mine across invisible threads of pure energy connecting us still. It's both achingly beautiful and excruciatingly painful simultaneously, this constant, nagging reminder that what we shared together was never ordinary or easily replaceable. I know without question that I owe you a real apology, not just a simple, throwaway I'm sorry that costs nothing, but one that comes from deep reflection, genuine accountability, and true understanding of the harm caused. I treated you unfairly when I let my own insecurities and fears dictate my actions toward you. I broke your precious trust when I pulled away emotionally instead of being courageously honest about what I was actually feeling inside. You didn't deserve my cold silence or my confusing behavior. You deserved crystal clarity, unconditional love, and consistent respect from the very beginning. I see that truth now with painful hindsight, and I genuinely regret not giving you the reassurance you desperately needed and deserved when you needed it most urgently. Being apart from you physically and emotionally has taught me more about myself, my patterns, and my true nature than any other single experience in my entire life. The countless sleepless nights, the persistent anxiety, the deep restlessness that won't let me settle, they're constant, unmistakable reminders that I'm not at peace because something absolutely vital is missing from my life. I've realized through painful experience that no distraction, however entertaining, no success, however impressive, no temporary comfort, however pleasant, can genuinely fill the profound void your absence leaves behind. I can't keep pretending convincingly that I'm okay when my heart is quietly aching for you every single moment. I'm exhausted and tired of the games we play, tired of the endless push and pull dynamic, tired of sabotaging something so rare, precious, and meaningful. My inconsistent behavior and confusing actions weren't an accurate reflection of my true feelings for you. They were a reflection of my internal confusion, of my deep inability to accept that something this profound and life-changing could actually be real and not just fantasy. Now, with absolute clarity, I don't want to lose you. Not for an entire lifetime. Not even for a single moment longer than absolutely necessary. I want to carefully rebuild what I carelessly damaged, to slowly regain your hard-won trust, to prove conclusively that this connection still matters enormously to me. I want to communicate openly without walls, to share dreams and fears instead of hiding them protectively, to face challenges bravely together instead of running from them alone. I've learned through painful experience that genuine love isn't about impossible perfection or maintaining flawless behavior. It's fundamentally about consistent presence and showing up. It's about showing up faithfully even when it's deeply uncomfortable, even when fear whispers seductively that it's safer and easier to retreat and hide.